Welcome back everyone. With under 24 hours until the trade deadline, the Lakers have plenty of work to do. Following them getting within 2 games of the 4th seed, they have begun trending downward. They blew a lead against the New Orleans Pelicans, and then dropped another game last night against the OKC Thunder. Fortunately for them though, the Western Conference continues to remain wide open. Believe it or not, they're only 2 games back from the 10th seed, and then only 4 games back from the 6th. On the other hand though, they definitely need to make changes to get there, both internally and externally as well. One part of that will involve making another trade. Acquiring Rui Hachimura could help long term, but he was not enough to make a big difference right now, and especially with the way they have been utilizing him. In order for them to make a real change, they have to address one of, if not multiple, of their biggest needs, and in my opinion, those would have to be lacking reliable wing depth, not having enough 3-point shooting, and then needing a better fitting point guard. And that last part goes for both Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder as well. Neither of them are ideal fits in the court with LeBron and AD, and especially on offense during the 4th quarter. With all of that being said though, what are their options to address their remaining needs, and what available players could help them do it? We will talk about exactly that in today's video. Before we do that though, if you are looking to turn your NBA or NFL knowledge into cash, then be sure to check out PriceSpecs. They are quite literally giving a free play away right now. You can pick MVP quarterback Patrick Mahomes at either more or less than 0.5 total passing yards, which is really a no-brainer. And if you want to follow along, here's what I'm combining that with. I of course got Patrick Mahomes throwing for more than that, and then Anthony Simons dropping more than 22.5 points, Draymond Green grabbing more than 8.5 rebounds, De'Aaron Fox having more than 1.5 steals and blocks, and then Gabe Vincent having more than 1.5 turnovers. If you are looking to take advantage of that no-brainer promotion, then be sure to check out PriceSpecs and use code JSM to get a bonus on your first deposit. Without further ado though, let's get back to today's topic, and like I referred to before, we are going to be looking at the most available and helpful last-minute trades for the Lakers prior to the trade deadline. I will be including both smaller and bigger trades here as well, ones that could involve a massive contract like the one owned by Westbrook, but also a smaller trade involving a guy like Damian Jones or Lonnie Walker. And coming in at trade number 1, we have a simple deal with the Houston Rockets, which will involve trading Damian Jones along with a 2nd round draft pick for Garrison Matthews. Definitely not a game-changing trade, but one that would help them nonetheless. They will be trading a guy who does not even play for them in Damian Jones, and then getting a solid 3-and-D wing in return for him. Now, I would not recommend this being the only trade they make, but it could help address a few of their needs. Garrison Matthews could offer 3-point shooting, wing defense, and would simply add more wing depth to their rotation. He might be having a down year shooting the ball, but I imagine that would improve alongside better playmakers. And even with the down year, he is still shooting nearly 39% on corner threes. If we then combine that with a solid defense, he would be a luxury for them off the bench. He currently ranks as the most impactful defender on the Rockets, and it's really not even close either. Now, definitely do take that with a grain of salt, but he can quite obviously make an impact when given minutes, and with how little it would take to acquire him, it would not be a bad idea to go after Garrison Matthews. But now moving on to trade number 2, and here we have a deal with the New York Knicks, which will involve trading Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder, and either a heavily protected 1st round draft pick or multiple 2nd round draft picks for Cam Reddish and Emmanuel Quickley. I think we all know that Cam Reddish is available, but the Knicks have quietly made Emmanuel Quickley available as well, and that could be an opportunity for the Lakers to upgrade at point guard. They have not been getting great production from Schroeder lately, and then they seem to be afraid of losing Lonnie Walker for nothing, and this trade could address both problems. They would be getting a more productive and better fitting point guard in Emmanuel Quickley, and then a much easier player to retain with Cam Reddish, who would also help improve their wing depth. Going back to Emmanuel Quickley here though, he would be a huge upgrade for them, one of the best defensive point guards in the entire league, and then a solid 3-point shooter. That would be worth giving up draft picks for. But now moving on to trade number 3, and here we have a deal with the Detroit Pistons, which will involve trading Damian Jones, Lonnie Walker, and 1 second-round draft pick for Alec Burks. At this point, I imagine that many of you are well aware of my liking for Alec Burks. I mentioned him a number of times now, and really for good reason too. Trading for him will go a long way in helping improve their 3-point shooting, provide them with more bigger wing depth, and then he would all around be the versatile two-way player they need. I mean, the guy's shooting 43% from 3, an absurd 48% on corner threes, and then averaging 13 points per game in only 22 minutes per game, and it really doesn't get much better than that. To make it even better though, he is under a very team-friendly contract for next season. He will only be making a salary of about $10 million, and then it's all under a team option as well. In my opinion, they would have a hard time finding a more impactful trade for that price, and while it would require giving up Lonnie Walker, I believe it would be worth it. But now moving on to trade number 4, and here we have a deal with the Charlotte Hornets, which will involve trading Westbrook, 1 unprotected first-round draft pick, and then 1 second-round draft pick for Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, and Mason Plumlee. We have heard about this deal before, and if we are talking about the most likely trade partners for Westbrook, then the Charlotte Hornets are definitely one of them. I mean, I definitely would refer to them as more of a backup plan at this point, but they are one of the very few teams who not only could have interest in trading for him, but also keeping him as well. Their team owner Michael Jordan, who you might have heard of by the way, has a very good relationship with Russell Westbrook. It will really all come down to the price here. We know how the Lakers feel about their first round draft picks, and I really doubt they'll be willing to give up both of them here. Although, if we are only talking about giving up one of them, then I could definitely see them doing this deal. They have been linked to Terry Rozier for months now, and then both Kelly Oubre and Mason Plumlee are quality role players. It would fill their need for a better fitting point guard, provide them with more bigger wing depth, and then give them a solid backup big man as well, all of which could be intriguing. But now moving on to our 5th and final trade, and here we have the one that is currently being talked about, which will involve the Utah Jazz, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then of course the Lakers. According to Shams, the deal would include Mike Conley going to Minnesota, Westbrook going to Utah, and then D'Angelo Russell coming back to LA. In addition to that, the deal might include Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley coming to LA, which in my opinion would really be the best case scenario here. Now, we don't know the full details regarding draft compensation, but I imagine the Lakers would be giving up 1 first-round draft pick, and then maybe a second-round draft pick or 2 if they would be getting Beasley and Vanderbilt. The difficult part here will be working with Danny Ainge. He is typically not very negotiable, and is well known for pulling off one-sided deals. I mean, they did manage to pull off a fairly beneficial deal involving Patrick Beverley, and that could help them negotiate again before the trade deadline, but I guess you never really know. In regard to what they would be getting here though, they would be addressing pretty much all of their needs. They would be getting a better fitting point guard with D'Angelo Russell, a 3-point shooting wing player with Malik Beasley, and then a young defensive stud with Jared Vanderbilt. It would be pretty weird getting back D'Angelo Russell, but he would theoretically fit well with their team. He can run their offense with LeBron on the bench, but could also fit well with him on the court. Currently shooting over 39% from 3, and taking 7 of them per game, I think it's safe to say that he can shoot the ball, and then combine that with his playmaking, and he could be a valuable addition to their offense. On the other side of that though, he is by no means a good defender. I mean, he is not outright awful, but he would definitely not be an upgrade on defense for them. The final thing worth mentioning about him would be his contract. They probably like the fact that it's coming to an end, but that could also mean losing him for nothing this summer. However, if they were to get Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt with him, then I would be willing to take that risk. You could argue that they are worth a first-round draft pick alone, and that could make it worth it. To wrap everything up here though, there are a number of available players that could help the Lakers, both from the standpoint of making a smaller and larger trade too. And if they are able to pull off that Westbrook trade, I think they would qualify for making a larger one. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? Which available players do you think the Lakers should go after? And what ones do you feel most confident about being traded? Comment your thoughts down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.